Alright everyone, so in this video here, I've basically did some upgrades to my PC lately, and I'm going to go over some of the new things I got, and I'm also going to include some of the stuff I've been using for a while just to lump everything together in a single video. But for a little while, I've been doing some upgrades here and there, and of course one of the biggest upgrades I did recently was a brand new PC. And I'll get to that in a moment. But first and foremost, before I continue, I want people to understand that this is not meant to be like a high-end gaming rig or anything. It's more for me to do work on it, streaming and video editing, and then gaming as a secondary thing. Though, however, on the gaming side of things, this is actually pretty capable. So I just want to put that out there, but everything else comes first, gaming second. So with that said, this is my entire setup. So if I pan over here, you can kind of see the setup here. And obviously the chair, and I meant to do an actual video on this chair. I'm probably going to do one soon since I've been using it for quite a while now, but it's from eWin. I actually found this chair out about, or at least the brand itself, from another YouTuber, and let's just say there was a promo code, took advantage of it, and I actually got a pretty decent deal on this. And this is back in like around Black Friday era, or like right before. It was like in between Thanksgiving to Christmas of 2021. So that just gives you an idea of how this chair holds up. And I have to say, for a gaming themed type of chair, this is actually pretty comfortable. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah. And then over here, of course, is the main attraction. So first and foremost, this is a LG 4K 32-inch monitor. And then a lot of the rest of the stuff here is all Corsair theme products. Yeah, so basically I use a lot of their stuff mainly because of the ecosystem. Yes, you can get away with, mixing and matching, but if you stick with one ecosystem, in this case, sticking with Elgato, it just keeps everything simpler, and you can basically just have everything within a couple of apps. And in this case here, the Stream Deck. So everything goes to the Stream Deck for all the controls and everything. But anyway, so I use this keyboard and mice Corsair, and it's pretty nice. This mouse is just an upgraded version from the previous one I was using before. The only real difference, honestly, is really just the RGB lighting. So it has lighting on it, but it still has the sniper button. And if you don't know what that is, it's a button that you can press to basically slow the cursor down. So if I move the cursor, this is normal speed that I have it set at. If I press the sniper button, it slows down. Now some might say it's like, why not just slow down your speed? Well, sometimes you need more precise, so that it basically allows you to move the mouse around without like trying to force yourself to not move as much, but it also gives a more fine-tuned adjustment if, say, like you're using a sniper rifle in a game. That's really what it's designed for. Looking back though, because I was changing the mouse anyway, I kind of wish I got the other kind where it's more of a traditional style mouse, because this is more first-person shooter-centric type of mouse versus, just an all-round mouse. So in some ways, I kind of wish I got the other version, the Corsair mouse. But this is not a bad mouse either, and it is still a very comfortable mouse to use. So that is something to consider. But yeah, like this keyboard. This is a Corsair K60. It's a K60 keyboard, mechanical switches, and a really nice wrist pad for the keyboard. And I use a desk pad for this set here. And you kind of see where the monitor kind of sits on top of it. At least that way I don't have to worry about this thing like moving around or anything. Even though it is rubberized underneath, but it just helps keeps it in place. Plus, with the lighting, the ring light, I'm kind of limited on space there, so the monitor did have to like come forward just ever so slightly. But to some extent, it's actually not too bad. But anyway, so the speakers, I use these Bose speakers, Bose PC speakers. Honestly, they haven't really changed much. And honestly, I don't really see a reason why they would have to. One of the things that I like about these speakers, though, is that the sound quality is decent. And at least at the time, I don't know how much they are now, but at least at the time, they were $100. They sound really good. And they give enough bass that you don't really need a subwoofer. So that's part of the reason why I got these too, is because the subwoofers are kind of built into them. But I don't have an external box, and honestly, I don't need a heavy duty type of subwoofer for the computer. But anyway, let's see. The headset, yes, I do have a new headset also. It's also a Corsair. And it does have RGB lighting on it, though it is not on right now, though I can turn it on. And it turns it on. And of course, I do have it on a red theme. But I'm going to go ahead and turn this off for now. And here's the thing. I also got this. This is actually not really necessary. It's just a holder for the headset. This is actually the cheaper version. There is an RGB version with USB ports on them. So, like for instance, the more expensive one, which is double the price of this, would have a USB port here that it basically acts like a USB hub. But you can actually put your receiver connected here for like optimal connection. Let's just say I didn't want to spend that kind of money for a headset holder. And I don't really need RGB lights on it. I just need a place to hold the headset. So for half the price, it basically does the same thing. So I can just plop it on there. It holds it. It's made out of metal. So unless I just want to, in the future, change it to a different brand, I don't really see need to buy another one of those things. And of course, this Stream Deck. Yes, these classic things. This is actually the larger version, and I'm actually trying to sell off the mini version. It was sold, but the person never paid, so I just never shipped it and canceled the order for unpayment. Yeah, that's eBay buyers for you. My guess, he didn't want to pay because he realized that maybe basically it got sold for $65, and I think brand new you can get them for $80. So maybe the person figures like, I don't want to pay $65, for a used one. Doesn't come with a box or anything. It's just the unit itself. But I have it up again, and it's going back up to the same original sold price the first round. So I'm not really worried about that as long as the person pays. It's in the box ready to go. Just need to slap a label, throw it in the mail. But this is the new one I got. And this is actually the updated version. This is the one that you can actually take it out of this tilt thing. So you can basically, take it out and just have it laying flat. you have to disconnect the cable. But for me, I like having it propped up. Just makes it easier. And I would just have like the controls, like for the light. I turn the light. I can change the brightness. Basically, I have everything set to the way that works best for my environment. I can put like a sleep button there. Brightness controls for the stream deck. Mute button. Different scenes. Streaming and recording buttons on this thing. So I didn't mean to have the camera pointing down a little, but yeah. Yeah, that's how I have the stream deck set up. Now, technically, I could have gotten away with the other one and just have multiple pages. I'd rather have all the buttons I need up front so that it's just easier. I don't have to fumble around with it. I can just press a single button and I'm good to go. Now, the microphone is a Blue Yeti microphone on this blue branded microphone arm. And part of the reason why I got this is, well, I basically got this at Best Buy. It was an open package. And they were basically selling it for about the same price as if I just got the arm. So what I figured was, I'll just buy the entire kit, and it actually comes with this thing here. So if I move this here, you can kind of see what I'm talking about. So for like $20 more, I got this, and another microphone. So now that I had two of these, I basically sold off the other one. And in the end, I ended up getting it a little bit cheaper doing it this way than if I just bought the arm itself and then connected this directly to that. And then maybe later on I have to buy this. So I figure it's like, I'll just buy the entire kit, get everything I need up front, and move on with my life. And it actually worked out in my favor. And what's funny, here's a little rant about this microphone. It's not really the microphone itself that's the problem. It's the people that use it. I've seen people get these things and they use it like the other microphones. They would basically have it in a way so that it points like that. You're not supposed to do that. I mean, think about it. Why is it that this arm with this attachment, they have it designed so that it just hangs like this? It's because that's how you're supposed to have the microphone. You're supposed to have it like this. You're not supposed to talk through here. You talk this way. Or depending on the settings, this way or just all around. So essentially the way I have this set up is I will have the arm set up in a way, and I just make sure it's all locked into place. And then I would just have it slightly off view from the camera so that it picks up my voice, but you don't really see the microphone in frame. That's technically how you're supposed to be using this thing. That's how it was designed. So the fact that people always have these things, pointing in the wrong direction, and they wonder why the audio quality is pretty bad is because of that. Is because they're just not using it correctly. Don't believe me? Look up the manual for these things. Anyway, so that's the microphone. And of course, we get to the computer itself. Now, of course, this is a 20th anniversary Xbox controller. Though I will say that I actually would not mind not using this and using like the Elite Series controller, just because of the back buttons on those controllers are really useful. But this is still a really nice controller. And like I said too, I don't really use this for gaming first. So to me, this is more like a little showpiece than anything else. But the computer itself, this is the main attraction here. This is obviously a desktop computer, and if you notice, it says Power Spec. For anyone that's not aware, Power Spec is actually Micro Center's house brand. I'm actually fortunate enough to live about 15 minutes away from a Micro Center, which to me, and I know there are other YouTubers out there that will actually say the same thing, when it comes to buying computers or computer parts, Micro Center is really one of the best ones in the world when it comes to computer parts or just buying computers. Power Spec is their house brand. So Power Spec is Micro Center's system builder. And let's just say for basically the specs on this, if say like I went to a different system builder, I saw price differences upwards about $400 to $500 difference. So $400 to $500 cheaper. And on top of that, Windows 11 Pro, not the home version, the Pro version, which is really, really cool. And this is a smaller form factor desktop computer, which I'm perfectly fine with it. It actually does everything I need. And there is one limitation with the motherboard on this, and that has to do with those M.2 slots for the SSDs. There's 2 slots in this thing on the motherboard. However, one of them, which is the one that's connected for Windows, is full speed. The secondary one is a slower speed that's actually shared with the SATA ports. And on top of that, if you have to pick and choose. So you either want M.2 or if you want SATA. So basically, I upgraded the storage. I had an additional 2 terabytes to this computer, but I used the other M.2 slot. So that way I don't have to worry about cables or anything. I have to say, even though it is the slower one, for games and stuff, it's still really, really fast. So don't be discouraged about buying cheaper M.2 drives, because in real world practices, you're not going to notice really that much of a difference. So say like, for example, if I played Fortnite, I tried on the PC and I also played on my Xbox Series X, the load times was basically identical from one another. Even on the PS5, I tried Fortnite on the PS5 for loading comparisons, and it's pretty much identical from one another. It's really hard to tell the difference, which means buy more expensive drives for a higher read-write speed when it comes to games. Not as important as you might think. Like in my particular case, because of that knowledge, I'd rather get a slower M.2 drive, but a higher capacity versus a faster one for a lower capacity drive, because regardless of which one I get, in real world practices, at least with this particular machine, I'm not going to notice the difference. So I'd rather get the higher storage capacity than a faster drive, because the motherboard won't be able to take advantage of that anyway. So yeah. But the drive I did get for the 2 terabytes is the Inland brand, and that's because it was just cheaper. I strictly went by price on this, because I knew it didn't matter which version I got, it's never going to take full advantage of it. So, yeah, I went with the Inland 2 terabytes version, and I was playing game. I use that mainly for the game drives and, whatever work I do, it goes on that drive. But in terms of performance, it's perfectly fine. And Say, for example, I load up Fortnite real quick. And the only reason I'm using Fortnite as an example just because of the popularity. So yeah, I told it to launch and it's fixing to launch. And this is running on that inland 2 terabyte M.2 drive. So if you notice, a lot of the times you're actually waiting on the connection, not really loading. Alright, so if I change it real quick, let me just do that and hit play. Oh yeah, while we're waiting on that, the specs on this is AMD Ryzen 5 with 16 gigs of RAM, though I am planning on upgrading that to 32 gigs of RAM. I know it's complete overkill with this, but I mean, look how fast that loaded, and it also loaded all the textures. So yeah, as you can see, and by the way, I'm pretty much at a lock 60. But yeah, also when it comes to the graphics on this thing, this is on a Nvidia Rtx 3060. Now, this is I don't want to say is a lower end GPU, but for the 30 series, it is kind of more on the lower end. But I'll say this, for most games right now, it is perfectly serviceable, especially with this whole upscaling thing that Nvidia does now, and even AMD. The fact that you can just basically take like a 1080p, or in this case here, I'm actually doing 1440p and then having it upscale to 4K, and it's still at a lock 60. So that's actually pretty cool. But yeah, um, but for the most part, I'm actually really happy with this setup here. And oh yeah, of course the ring light, the Elgato ring light, and of course the Elgato face cam. So I did a couple of videos with this entire setup, and I actually do have a green screen too, which is sitting right there. But yeah, um, but all in all, kind of happy about this setup. Now in the future, things might change, of course, because that's just how technology works. But for the most part, I'm pretty much set in. Apart from maybe adding more RAM to this thing, there's really not much else I really need to upgrade for quite a while, honestly. Because, like I said, I do the other stuff, then gaming on this thing. So everything else I do on it works flawlessly. So thumbs up to that. And yeah, that's pretty much it. So that's it. Like always, have a good one.